Attorney comments. There's really no action to take on this. We have approved moving forward, barring any objectionable language or major changes in the contract. I did have an opportunity to speak with John Kneppel. There are some things that are Attorney Macy's suggestions that they don't or likely won't take issue with, and a couple that they would. I'll bring those to your attention now. With regard to page 2, number 5, work product, the feeling of the auditor of Baker Tilly is that they don't necessarily create any work product, but they have, they're merely recreating or creating a document based on the information that we provide to them. And that work products such as their internal controls and their processes that they would not release for a very simple reason, because then we or any other client would know how to circumvent their processes. And so they would not release that type of work product to us, along with any internal memos discussing their processes. The next section, number 6, taking out the punitive damages and liability, they would have a strong exception to removing. And as you mentioned, or as Mr. Kneppel had mentioned, that the chances of punitive damages being awarded for something like this would be such an egregious violation that it would be basically it'd be very difficult to anticipate something like that. So they are going to take exception to removing that. There's a couple of errors. For instance, it says Village of Greendale, it needs to be Town of Waukesha. Number 9, the Baker Tilly does have $1 million in coverage, and they would not name the town as an additional insured. And addendum A, they didn't take exception to. They've already approved that in other villages that you've worked with, Attorney Macy. Anybody else have any comments on the comments from Attorney Macy?
If I could just say one thing, I'll direct it to Attorney Macy. I'd like to express my appreciation for your review of this agreement and for the appreciation that you're able to draw on your reservoir of knowledge and experience with this type of agreement with other communities. I find all of the things that you've called to our attention to be appropriate. I support them, and I thank you for doing the review.
Attorney Macy, do you take any great exception to leaving in the section 6, the liability language, and not naming the town as an additional insured?
As I said, I don't know that, I mean, we'd have to go through the whole paragraph 6. They gotta define what work product is and what that is. They can't just say we're gonna keep confidential what we wanna keep confidential. So if they have a specific definition of what they're gonna keep confidential, we know that they're software, things like that and stuff, we don't have a problem with that. We're just making sure that what's public document they have to release. And so I don't think that, I think it can be worked out as it says, you know. The question of whether or not you're gonna require insurance from them is a policy decision, you know, and the punitive damages, we'll talk to them about it. So it's sort of an irony that they say the chances of it are so slim, why don't you take it out? And our argument would be, if the chances are so slim, why aren't you leaving it in? You know, so I just need a chance to talk to them, and we'll look at see what was resolved. As I said, we don't have to hammer it out here tonight, I need to talk to them.
Were you able to, out of curiosity, were you able to get them to leave the damage liability in other municipalities?
I did not see, we gave our comments to the village manager in the village of Greendale, and he negotiated the final document. So
Okay.
I can't speak to that with specificity in Greendale.
Fair enough. On to E,